Town, city to city, state to state, sitting down in random locations across this nation with a whiteboard in my hand. But instead of my whiteboard saying what it says, typically ask the question of, what's your story? You see, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people would walk on by not paying a single attention to the guy with the sign. But that's perfectly fine, for I seek that one, that two, that three, four, five, that looked upon the whiteboard and thought to themselves, why not? These are the people I seek, these are the people I desire, and these are the stories that I share with the others. You see, when I was down in this one, Columbus, Ohio, this person came on by. He looked at my whiteboard and said, saying, what's your story? And pausing his tracks, he said not a word. That after a moment or two, I started to dance a little bit with my sign. He looked up at me with a smile and a chuckle and said, am I supposed to respond to the question? And I was like, yeah, I mean, only if you really want to. It's kind of what I do. I go across the nation, listen to people just like you. You want to share your story? And this person from Columbus, Ohio, he just looked at my whiteboard saying, what's your story? And said not a word. Then after another moment or two, I started to dance a little bit with my sign. He looked up at me with a smile and said, I don't know how to respond to the question. And I told him, that's perfectly fine. If you like, I can give you a hypothetical to help us out. And he said, sure, let's give it a shot. Better. So I said, hypothetically speaking, you see an old red robe man walking towards us. He's got a cane in his right hand as he's dragging his left foot. He's got crazy white raggedy hair coming down to his kneecaps and an eye like Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks. And he's just staring at you as he says in an old raspy voice, of the 7.2 billion people upon this planet, in theory, every single one of us comes from a different background, a different history, different experiences that make them. Who are you? Not only just that, but in practice, what makes you? You, I suppose what I'm asking is, what's your story? Hypothetically speaking, of course. How would you respond to this crazy old red road man? And this person in Columbus, Ohio, he just looked at my whiteboard saying, what's your story? And said not a word. That after another moment or two, I started to dance a little bit with my sign. He looked up at me with a chuckle and said, how can I respond to this crazy old red road man when I look at that same exact world around me and see the same 7.2 billion people here just like me? How can I tell you my own individual thing? Well, the only thing I really have going for me is I can easily point and say, I'm not him, I'm not him, I'm not her, I'm not her. And when I look upon my reflection later on that night, I can easily point and laugh and say, that's me right there. But the question then becomes, is it really for? If I put on a completely different pair of perception glasses, if you will, if I look at the world around me as stardust, that this is stardust, that's stardust, that's stardust, I can look at the same exact people before me and say, he's stardust, she's stardust, he's stardust, she's stardust. When I look upon my reflection later on that night, not only is that reflection stardust, but so am I. In that tiny one little instance, I am none of these people and all of these entities at the same exact time. But you see, I'm relying too much upon my senses here. Take, for example, if I go to the comic book store, if you will, and pick up an illusion book, if you will, and I flip page after page after page after page, my eyes get tricked, my eyes get fooled. There, say, my eyes lie to me again and again and again and again. And if somebody lies to you even one time, you should probably never really trust them 100% again. So here I am looking at the wall before me saying, I'm not him, but I'm also him. I'm not her, but I'm also her. And then I look upon my reflection later on that night, and I usually play that laughing game that goes a bit like, ha ha ha, wait a minute, is that really me? Because the moments upon perception is not the same moments as understanding. And that tiny little difference between now and now, am I something more? Am I something different? Am I just a being who's constantly justifying to itself the consistency of what I see happening right there before me? He paused for a moment, not saying a word. That little sparkle in his eye you could see was lost to the back of his mind. And after another moment or two, I started to dance a little bit with my sign. He looked up at me with a chuckle and said, I think I got it. So I asked him, what'd you get? I think I got my story, he said. So I asked him, what's your story? My story, he said, is that I am an amalgam. I am my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my cousins, my neighbors, my uncles, my aunts, my professors, my teachers, my babysitters, nannies, and hey, every single stranger I've ever really met coming together to help create one. I am from this moment, my entire history, my entire past coming together to constitute me. I'm every open door I've ever chosen to walk through and every closed door I chose not to. I'm every open path that I've made my own and path that I chose to follow coming together to help create me right here, right now. But you see, there's an issue. Because this now is not the same as this now. This now is completely different than this now. Because this now didn't involve this cloud where this now did. Therefore, if I look upon my entire history, I can easily decipher that it's ever filled of ever constant changing nows coming together to help create me now. Therefore, I can easily say I am an ever constant changing amalgam. That on some days I am such an American amalgam, though when somebody screams America, I'm the first to go, heck yeah! But then on other days, he continued to say, is that I'm also the amalgam of my Palestinian mother and my Israeli father, that whenever I look upon American international politics on the television, my hand will simply palm my face as I say, But then on other days, as he started to conclude, to say is that I'm also the amalgam of a sci-fi nerd. I will go to the same comic book store weekend after weekend after weekend, reading sci-fi book after sci-fi book of the potential future to be. To say that one day I'm riding the hoverboard through the crowded streets of Columbus one day, or getting into my hovercraft and pressing warp speed through a wormhole to a whole other galaxy, or even more as I look upon my ship's crew and ask, shall we go to Saturn, Jupiter, or Mars today? My story, he concluded, is that from this moment forward, I am my entire future, anything I wish to be, anything I desire to be, cultivate together to help create me. I am every open door I will ever choose to walk through, and every closed door I will choose not to. I'm every open path that I'll make my own, and path that I choose to follow, coming together to help create me right here, right now, for can't you see? For tomorrow is yesterday, I'm about never constant changing amalgam. I'm just trying to make sense of what it means to laugh and point and say, ha ha, hey man, that's me. And then he got up and said, thanks for listening, and walked away, and there I sat still holding my sign, asking people, what's your story? I went for the next person to walk my way, and my name is Storytelling Salem, and that's only chapter 2 of a 52-plus storybook for only $20. But aside from that little advertisement, did you guys enjoy your story today? Yeah. Woo! And I thank you very, very much.
Where can we find you online?
Storytelling Salem on Facebook.
That's the only spot?
That's the only spot, but I don't use it very much. I like person to person.
That is the best. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Storytelling Salem, but I don't use it too much. I get better as time progresses, and that's old stuff.
When are you going to move to the Free State Project for permanent?
It depends on how many people come up and respond to what's your story tomorrow.
Well, based on the performance here, you're not going to get a small group.
And I thank you. Thank you, and I hope to see a grand amount of people then.
Thank you so much.
I got you.
Where can we find you?
Storytelling Salem on Facebook. Hi, or just around. I'm the guy with the whiteboard.
Do you have a QR code?
A what?
Bitcoin QR code. Do you have a smartphone?
I do, but I just recently got one, so I have no clue what to do with it.
Do you have internet access out here?
Not at the moment.
Would you like to find out where you can get internet access?
I would love that.
There is a spot 2 streets over, about 6 up. It's a camper, $7 all week. It's only one? Okay, 1 street over, $7 all week. It reaches pretty far. The porcfest free one is sporadic. That's your best bet.
Beautiful that they even offer it that way.
You'll see the camper, you'll see an easy up like this with a hammock. That's the one.
Yeah.
Plus there's a sign on that side of this road that'll say the Wi-Fi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you live in Ohio?
I did for 5 years, but I do have to ask, are you still filming, man?
Yes.
Okay, making sure.
I can stop in a moment.
Anytime.